Camping in Yellowstone has changed a lot over these past few years. So today I am here to talk you through all about camping in Yellowstone, where to stay. I will walk you through the live process of getting a reservation, and I will make sure that you know what you need to know before you go camping in Yellowstone this year. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes, and I love helping people plan trips to Yellowstone. That is one of my favorite parks to help you get to because it is just so incredible. So today I wanted to talk to you about camping, specifically front country camping, which means campsites that you can get to in your vehicle. You can drive to these, you don't have to go backpacking or anything like that. So we're going to talk about the front country camping options in Yellowstone. Yellowstone has over 2,000 campsites, so there are a lot of places to choose from. There's a lot of options, but surprisingly, these campsites fill well in advance. It's really competitive to get camping in Yellowstone, and so I want to talk you through the process so that you know what you need to do to snag one of those hard-to-get campsites. A couple things you'll want to know before even considering booking in Yellowstone is that you do have a 14-day stay limit during the summer. Each site can have up to 6 people and 2 tents and 2 vehicles. And so, if you're bringing in a trailer, an RV, that counts as a vehicle. If you're car camping or if you have a rooftop tent, then you'll need to get a campsite that is specific for that. And if you have more than 6 people in your group, then you'll want to either book 2 campsites or look at the group campsite options. Last thing, Yellowstone is definitely bear country. And so if you plan on camping in the park, you'll want to read up on best practices for camping when there is wildlife, specifically bears, because they are pretty tricky. They will try to get into your food. They'll try to get into anything that smells like toothpaste, deodorant, things like that. And so in Yellowstone, it is extremely critical that you keep a clean camp and that you're making sure you're keeping yourself safe and the bears safe from the things that you bring with you while you camp. Let's take a look at your camping options in Yellowstone. So here I am on the Yellowstone website, and this map right here shows where these campgrounds are located. And so you'll see you've got a few up here in the north, some down here, and then some kind of along the middle. And if you scroll down here, so here's a list of all of the campgrounds in Yellowstone. So we saw them on the map. Here's the actual list, and you can see some of these campgrounds are just massive. Like Bridge Bay has 432 sites. Some of these campgrounds are really small, like Slough Creek, which only has 16. So if you're looking for specific amenities, specific RV lengths, things like that, you'll want to refer to this page on the Yellowstone website. I'm going to pull up the Yellowstone map. This will just make it easier for me to kind of explain what I would do when trying to pick a campground in Yellowstone. So basically, Yellowstone has these 2 loops. So you'll see the lower and the upper loop here. And if you can stay kind of in this middle area between the 2 loops, that is the best, most central location within the park. It cuts down on your driving a lot. You can either go north or south from this location and kind of make a base camp along here. So the campgrounds that you'll find along this middle road are Madison, Norris, Canyon Village. You can drop down here a little bit to Fishing Bridge and Bridge Bay. Those are a little bit further away from the northern part of the park, so I typically try to go for these 3 first. And then if you find yourself, not able to get reservation here, or if you don't mind moving around a little bit every day, then you could book a couple nights kind of down here in the southern part of the park, and then a couple nights up here in the northern part of the park. What I would avoid is just booking in either the northern or the southern for your whole vacation, because you start getting into some really long drive times at that point. So to go from, for example, from Mammoth down to Old Faithful, that will take you a couple of hours if you're staying up there. So I definitely recommend trying to either split up your campsites between the northern and southern parts of the park, or just staying there in the middle for the whole time. Okay, so let's go back to this page on the Yellowstone website. Now that we're looking at that, you can see here on this map, you can see all these different campgrounds. So again, if you're going for Madison, Norris, or Canyon, those are in a really good central location to base your whole trip out of. But say you want to book up here at Slough Creek, you're going to be a long ways away from the stuff down here. That's really the biggest mistake that people make when visiting Yellowstone, especially when they book their lodging. It's just not realizing, if you haven't been to the park before, you don't know these things. But it's just not realizing that the drive times in this park are massive. Yellowstone is over 2 million acres big. And so it is one of the largest national parks in the country. And if you're booking your lodging somewhere that's not very central, then you'll just spend hours in your car. And it will be harder to avoid the crowds and get parking once you do get down to the spots that you want to see. All right. So you have this list here. If you want more information about each campground, you can take a look here. They have each campground laid out. I also have an article on Dirt in My Shoes that walks you through all of this so that you can get my input, I guess, on where I would stay. This is Norris. Isn't that beautiful? So beautiful. Basically, in a nutshell, you won't find hookups in Yellowstone except at Fishing Bridge. That's an actual RV park setup, and there are hookups there. And you do need hard-sided campers. You can't be in a tent trailer or anything like that because the area has a lot of bears. And so that's the one exception to having something with a little more amenities. Otherwise, most campsites are pretty standard. You won't get a lot by way of luxuries in these campgrounds. But there are a few that have showers. And so looking at this map here, the ones that typically have showers are the ones up here that are reservable through Yellowstone National Park lodges. These campgrounds down here that are reservable through Recreation.gov are typically a little bit more primitive. They don't have showers. A lot of them don't have flush toilets, things like that. So do keep that in mind. But again, you can see just real quick, what each of these has. And all these ones up here through Yellowstone National Park lodges have flush toilets, and only a few down here through Recreation.gov do. So again, just keep that in mind. Another thing that I want to mention is the length limits for RVs, because these length limits I have found in Yellowstone, they are not exactly accurate. We travel around the national parks in a 30-foot travel trailer, and our truck that pulls the trailer is about 20 feet long. We typically need around 50 feet to park our trailer and our truck in our campsite. So if you take a look again on this page over here, this has kind of the length limits for these campgrounds. And you'll see these ones up here, again, these ones run through the Yellowstone National Park lodges, typically have some longer sites for you. You can see Fishing Bridge, just has some massive sites for the RVs that need hookups. These ones, a lot of times, are a better option if you're in an RV or you need a longer site. Okay, and then these ones down here, you'll notice a lot of them are smaller. You can't get as many big RVs into these sites. You'll want to kind of pay attention here. These numbers are the most accurate on Yellowstone's website. When you go through Recreation.gov or the Yellowstone National Park lodges, which I'll show you in a minute, it can get pretty confusing. It won't match these numbers that we see here a lot of times. So if you are in an RV, you will want to pay close attention to this. But I'll kind of just talk you through a little bit based on my own experience, because there have been times when it says that we shouldn't be able to fit in a campsite with our trailer, and we do. And so it just kind of depends on the campground itself. Okay, so let me walk you through this reservation process, because Yellowstone actually doesn't have any first come, first serve campsites anymore. They used to, and this past year they switched everything over to reservation only, with the exception of Mammoth Campground during the winter. During the winter, it is first come, first serve, but during the summer months, it is reservation only too. So everything now is reservation only in Yellowstone, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. But in my opinion, I think it's a really good thing, because we have camped in Yellowstone over many, many years and have tried to get those first come, first serve sites. And although we usually get them, it takes a lot of hours, a lot of early mornings trying to get those first come, first serve. So it is kind of nice that everything is now on a reservation system. However, looking here, you'll see these 5 campgrounds are reservable through Yellowstone National Park lodges, and these 7 campgrounds are through Recreation.gov. So there are 2 different ways to make reservations in Yellowstone, and it can get a little confusing. But let's start with the Yellowstone National Park lodges. Okay, so here I am on the Yellowstone National Park Lodge's website, and I want to try to stay in Madison Campground, or you can just put all Yellowstone National Park campgrounds. So maybe I'll start with that first. I know I'm going in August. I put flexible dates so I can see all of August. If you have exact dates, then you can do that too. But for now, I just know I want to go in August for 3 nights, 2 adults, 2 children, and I'm going to check availability. So what I like about choosing flexible dates is then you can see exactly what is available in all of those campsites. So that makes it really nice. So I am looking here, and you can see Fishing Bridge has like hardly any availability, not till the very end of August. So that one is harder to get into because people love their hookups. But I'm going for Madison Campground, and I am gonna go for, let's do a Tuesday. Gonna go midweek. All right, so then I come down and see what's available to me. So you'll notice, and this is where I'm talking about, like the picture for this is not, so this it says it's a site up to 20 feet. And it says maximum combined length of vehicles is 20 feet. This is at least a 20-foot trailer. So that doesn't even include the car. And so this picture is very misleading. However, also, in what world is a 20-foot combined length of vehicle even possible? Nobody has a trailer that small and a car that small that can tow it. So this is where like the length limits get really weird if you're going to be in an RV. If you're in a tent, you can book one of these RV sites as long as, it has a tent pad that is big enough to fit your tent. So it does say if tent only, it holds a 12 by 12 tent or 2 8 by 8. So if you're camping in a tent, then you can reserve pretty much any of these sites, which is really nice. As you'll see, you can get a nice sized tent even in these smaller sites. So I'm going down here. This is where it gets tricky because I am not reserving this 13 months in advance, and so it makes it hard to see. But I can get, the biggest site that I can get right now is up to 30 foot plus the tent. And so this says maximum combined length of vehicles is 30 feet, which again, really, if you have an RV, that doesn't make sense. Plus the picture, this is, that probably is around 30 feet or so. But a lot of these sites also, I think I might take the risk because I should probably be able to get my trailer in there. Or worst case scenario, I get my trailer in there and then I go park somewhere else in like some of the overflow parking. So this is kind of where you have to decide, these length limits are very misleading. It is a little bit confusing in here. There are some campgrounds that you will not want to fudge on the length limits, and those are mostly the ones on Recreation.gov. But the ones through the Yellowstone Park lodges, a lot of this information on their website is incorrect. I would go by what you can see on the Yellowstone website that I showed you before. And so book the largest site that you can within reason of the equipment that you have with you. Don't book a 20-foot site if you have a 25 or 30-foot trailer. That's just, you're not going to be able to fit when you get there. Looking here, so you can see, there is some 20-foot sites. These are already all snatched up, and these are the ones typically that get snatched up that 13 months in advance, is the bigger sites. So actually, and imagine that is the trailer that we have, and these are the sites that I always try to get the 40 foot. Again, though, it says maximum combined length of vehicles is 40 feet. And I told you before, we are closer to 50 feet with our trailer and our truck, and we fit into these sites just fine. So try to get the 40-foot site if you can, but just know if you're a little bit bigger than that, you're okay. All right, so I'm gonna just let's pick something that's available. So I want this 30-foot site. So I'm gonna go ahead and select that. I'm gonna read through this, agree to the terms. I'm gonna choose what I have, which is a vehicle, at which point I will put that I have a 30-foot travel trailer. Okay. And again, I'm by no means like telling you to like really book something that just is not realistic for you. But I do just want to reiterate that, these 30-foot total, like there is some room there. So again, I have a 30-foot travel trailer. We're closer to 50. So I would not reserve this for myself. We would be cutting it way too close. But if you're in, a 20-foot travel trailer and a 20-foot vehicle, so you're 40 feet total, but your travel trailer is pretty small, you'd probably be fine in this site. Now, what you'll notice with the Yellowstone Park Lodges reservation is you are not getting an assigned site. Like you're not getting a site number. I don't know what site I'm going to be in. I'm not sure. What I'm doing is I am booking a type of site. And then when you get to the park and you check in, then they will assign you a site that is that size. And so even so, it's really advantageous to get checked in earlier in the day so that they can assign you. They'll have a larger pool of sites to assign you. And so if you get assigned something and you get in there, and this has happened to us before, we get in there and the site that they assigned us, yes, it's long enough, but like it has a tree that's a little low or a rock in the way or something, then we can actually just circle back around to the office and say, hey, can you give us another 40-foot site? The one you put us in isn't great for our situation. And then they can reassign you. So you have more options. And so I like to get there, I think check-ins around noon. I like to get there around that time if I can, so that they have a bigger pool of sites within that category that I reserved to assign to me. And then I have a little bit more flexibility to get into a site that's going to work well. Okay, so I hope that's helpful to walk you through that process. Now I want to show you Recreation.gov because this is for the other 7 campgrounds in Yellowstone. And this is a much different process actually than the ones through the Yellowstone Park Lodges. Okay, so going back to this page on Yellowstone's website, take a look at these campsites that are reservable through Recreation.gov. These ones that say to be determined, so it's 2023 right now. These are the ones that were most affected by the flooding in Yellowstone in 2022. So these are like the northern part of the park where it just cut out roads and like the flooding was so bad. And so they are still trying to, I think, decide which ones are going to be open for the summer and stuff like that. A few of these, like Norris and Tower, these typically have been first come, first serve, and they're switching them over to reservation only for this year. And so you'll want to look at this before you decide which campground you want to try to reserve. Then we go to here and let's do Indian Creek. Indian Creek is right here. So it's a pretty good location. Actually, you're not too far from Mammoth. You're not too far from Norris. Again, probably a little further north than I typically like to be if I want to stay in the same site the whole time. And so I would probably do a few nights here and then maybe a few nights down here by Bridge Bay or Grant Village. So we're taking a look at Indian Creek. And this starts in June. All of these are reserved. These ones are not. These have not yet been released. So what Yellowstone is doing through Recreation.gov is it is opening these sites 6 months in advance. And so you can reserve some of them at that time. 6 months before you want to be in the park, you've got to be on here 8 a.m. ready to book your site. But also they are saving some sites back for a 2-week in advance release. And so looking here, these ones that say not released, while other ones are already reserved, these are the ones that are going to be released 2 weeks in advance instead of 6. So keep that in mind as you're going through, but you'll notice everything is listed out by specific site. And so what you'll have to do, so this one does have some availability here. So I'm going to click into this one so you can take a look. All right, this is actually a really good one. This could fit a really large RV, 38 feet. That's almost as big as you can get in these sites in Yellowstone. So you're looking at here, but you are reserving a specific site. And so you need to make sure this site can fit you. Read through here, make sure that it fits everything that you need. Make sure it has what you're looking for. So you can see here, curved pull-through site can accommodate truck and trailer combination up to 57 feet. I'm all over this one. This one would work perfectly for us. And so that's what I would do. You can just click right here. You can check out this day. There we go. I have 3 nights. Add to cart, log in, and then it will take you here to your cart. So you can finish checkout that way. So that's actually a really good one. But, say I come down to this one. It says the campsite's already reserved. I know that, but I want to see the driveway length is 24. So this one is not big enough for me. That's not going to work. So what you have to do is actually go through these sites individually and figure out which ones would be ideal for you and book that specific site. Now, there is another way to do this. You can put filters here that will be much faster. And so vehicle length, if I put in 30 feet here, then it filters it by that. So now it's showing me the only ones that would fit the size that I need. So that will help narrow it down, but then you'll also need to go through and decide which site is going to work for you. Let's say I want to go in, so you can see there's a good amount of availability in July. So let's say we're going the end of July, and I'm going to take a look here. So this one, that's the only site that is open for my size and my date. So that's the process that you go for this one. And again, these ones that are not yet released, let's see, down in here, these ones will be released 2 weeks in advance. And so you do have some last minute options if you're not able to get in here the 6 months in advance to snatch something up. Okay, so those are the different processes that you'll take to get a reservation for camping in Yellowstone. Again, with the Yellowstone Park lodges, those length limits and stuff, you can fudge them a little. With the Recreation.gov sites, you will want to pay really close attention to what those length limits are and the notes that come with that site, because it is pretty accurate. And so you'll want to make sure that you're booking something that can fit you. But again, the Yellowstone Park lodges ones, you can fudge it a little bit and you can have a little more flexibility since they don't assign you a specific site when you make your reservation. If you need any more help solidifying your lodging for your Yellowstone vacation, go over to Dirt in My Shoes. I have a couple of articles written that will really help walk you through specifically where I like to stay and the general areas that I aim for. And so that will walk you through and really help you make a good decision before you go to Yellowstone. I also have a full trip planning video for Yellowstone National Park where I will walk you through everything you need to know as a first-time visitor as you're visiting Yellowstone. So be sure to watch that video here on my YouTube channel as well. I hope that you have a fantastic trip, and I can't wait for you to be in Yellowstone National Park.